Yeah. Late nights, same room. Kastor's Korner. We're live. We're live. Yeah. We're live. Kastor's Korner. Back when the shelf was a thought in my head. Before the price talk, before what was said. Before the grow up, before they all dip. Before the love turned to what you could flip. Same space, new lens, I adjusted the view. Seen the hype come and go, seen what it do, some moved on. Some lost what was real, I stayed right here. Had to see how it feel. Korner live, yeah, we back in the room. Say it in the chat, let me hear it from you. Why you collect, what it mean, what it do? We don't chase hype, we just stay on the truth. Kastor's Korner, yeah, I see you show up. Same love, new lens, yeah, we building it up. Share the joy, never mind what it costs. If it's real, let it stay. If it's not, let it go. Yeah, now it's less about the shelf, more the reason behind. What you kept, what you left, what you chose over time. Connecticut to Philly, Long Island we know. Seen the culture shift fast, seen the noise get loud. Everybody got a tape when they chasing the crowd. But I'm right here steady, never moved off track. If it don't feel real, I don't bring that back. Built this slow, now I stand on its own. When you step in the room, yeah, you already home. Korner live, yeah, we back in the room. Say it in the chat, let me hear it from you. Why you collect, what it mean, what it do? We don't chase hype, we just stay on the truth. Kastor's Korner, yeah, I see you show up. Same love, new lens, yeah, we building it up. Share the joy, never mind what it costs. If it's real, let it stay. If it's not, let it go. It ain't what it's worth, it's what it mean to you. Not the price on the box, it's what you've been through. Different paths, same spark when it start. Yeah, we all came in with the same heart. Kastor's Korner, Korner, Korner. Oh, Kastor's Korner. Yeah, we're live, we're live, we're live, we're live. Kastor's Korner. We're live.
And we're a little bit early. But for a friend, I'm happy to move it along because I really want to have a good conversation about an upcoming Kickstarter. I've known Jason for a while now. He has had some amazing work done on multiple lines at Mattel and McFarlane and other companies. And it's been a privilege to get to know him and actually call him a friend. So without further ado, I want to get right into talking about the project. The link's in the chat, and you can check that out. If you're on the replay squad, thank you. If you're joining live, thank you also. I want to welcome Jason Langston.
Here I am.
There we go.
What's up, dude?
It's been a while. We haven't talked in a while.
It's been a while. A lot of text messages and IG messages and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a while, man. How you doing?
Good. Getting back into the groove of like talking toys and doing stuff and being creative in a way sometimes.
Good. Yeah, good.
How about you? How are you? This is an exciting project.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I think it's been about a little over a year and a week since I was let go from McFarlane. So about 6 months in, the unemployment ran out, and it was kind of, which it wasn't very much anyway, but it was like I need to do something creative. I need to get going. Hadn't been a lot of freelance or anything, so I just got kind of a bee in my bonnet and wanted to do something creative again. And this sort of just evolved. It just sort of happened.
Yeah, and I have a lot of questions because we've been talking to collectors for so long on this. I've been talking to like people that are in like the collecting space. We haven't talked to like industry people. So there's questions that like I think about and never get to ask because I'm not doing cons and stuff anymore. So like as we kind of go through this, I want to talk a little bit about the process of like designing, making, producing figures that I think gets overlooked sometimes. So creatively doing a Kickstarter, kind of like what made you go this route versus a different route of like picking this way to kind of create this project?
There have been a lot of challenges with this, and I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. I chose this route because I've seen, I was inspired actually. Like after, sitting on my butt, and I haven't been sitting on my butt obviously, but like just feeling like I'm sitting on my hands and I can do something. I was watching like the top 300 movies of all time as rated by Rotten Tomatoes, and it wasn't just like it has to be like French New Wave films. There were plenty of French New Wave films on there, but there was also like Empire Strikes Back was on there, so there's still some fun popcorn stuff. But as I looked at the list, there was 300. I was like, I've seen 100, 150 of these. I just want to get through them because I hadn't seen The Godfather, I hadn't seen Casablanca, I hadn't seen Maltese Falcon. Like, there's all these films that I've heard people talk about that I just never got around to watching. So just cranking through. And as I was watching, I started seeing the Kurosawa films. And I used to watch them when I was in college. I see them every once in a while since then. But like Mifune is just this presence. He has this force in all of the movies that he's in. I think he did 16 of them with Kurosawa. And a lot of samurai films. And then he went on to create his own samurai films that he produced, and he had his own production company. But I kind of looked into it. I said, all right, this guy has never had an action figure before. There's been plenty of samurai action figures. There's a lot of, just out there. There's just a lot of that stuff. So it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to do and really really push him forward, and there was a 1/6 that was done some years back. It was an Italian company that did it. And I was like, I got to do this, but I don't have $85,000 laying around. So I kind of had to choose Kickstarter. And why you said to go this route, circle back to your question. I was at a convention last year. It might have been last year or the year before, where Gavin Hignite and Doc Wyatt and a couple other folks, maybe Brian Flynn too, and then hosted by Toy Quiz, and they were talking about the Laurel and Hardy project, The Wandering Planet had done.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you can do licensed stuff. Like I thought, I'll credit to the Unparalleled Universe guy, Wade. I haven't actually met him, but I still was inspired by him getting Odious off the ground. It's an original character, and I don't really have an original character. It's not like I couldn't. My realm is licensing. I've been working in licensed stuff forever. But seeing them like as a small company reaching out, getting the feedback they got, and then going, I was inspired. I thought that's great. I'm going to try it. So I and they had success with the crowdfunding platform. So I'm both Wade and the Wandering Planet folks. So I'm going to try it. Like I'm going to take $8,000, pay a sculptor, pay a painter, get some soft goods made, and take a chance on myself, and we'll see what happens. So, that was kind of the impetus of it.
You've been, and I'm not as familiar with a lot of the other Kickstarter projects that have come out. I've backed some things. I've definitely played with some things after they've gone from Kickstarter to actual production, and they were selling them out versus pre-funding on things. From my perspective, you're showing a lot of the kind of process. You're posting a lot on Instagram, on your Instagram, JNL.toys on Instagram, and you're showing a lot of the craft, the design, the sculpt that kind of goes into that. How difficult is it to take it from the 3D render that you showed most recently on the sculpt stage to putting that on an articulated body from a design perspective?
If I were doing it myself, it would be impossible. I don't know ZBrush. I don't know Maya. I don't know how to sculpt anything. But what I do know is people. I have great connections throughout the toy industry. And it came down to reaching out to certain folks. I had reached out to Brody Perkins, and he recommended Alex Klein, who was the sculptor for this project. An amazing sculptor, an amazing actor. He's on Scarpetta with Nicole Kidman, and he was on Peacemaker, and so he's like his like day job. He's an amazing actor, and then his while he's sitting on set waiting for his turn, an amazing sculptor. And he's mostly known. He'd done the first wave or so, might have even been more, of the Star Trek figures for Nacelle. We're talking like he sculpted, he 3D outputted, he painted, like it was nuts to bolts. He did the whole thing, the first wave. So I knew I was in good hands. I'm going to hire this guy. I'm going to give him whatever he wants. And he's a huge Mifune fan. We had a conversation for like an hour on the phone when we first talked about the project. And then, it was going to there. Like, now I need a painter. And Mark Bristow, who's someone I worked with, I've also known him for probably 10 years. He's like, try Mike Flaumer. Mike Flaumer has done a lot of painting in the industry. He works at a studio that does props for films and TV shows and stuff. And I think most recently he's working on the Fallout TV show. So like, this is like Avengers level talent being pulled together, so understanding that like my role is director, is like I can do the design, I can give notes, but know what I can do and what I can't do, and just pulling the people together. The biggest challenge, I would say, is the financial part, is figuring out like how much is this going to cost to make and print and actually get packaged and shipped and stuff like that. So I've just reached out to friends in the industry just to get some, contacts at factories and production folks and stuff like that. So how difficult it is, it kind of depends. Like the creative part to me comes naturally to me. Like that's my favorite part of the whole process. Asking for money is not easy to do. That's a hard thing to do. Yeah. And I probably could have launched it 2 weeks earlier, but I was really going back and forth on, I wanted to keep the number. It seems like a big number. 85 grand seems like a really big number, but really I set it up to break even. I've already paid my sculptor. I've already paid my painter. I've already paid myself. I wanted to make sure that they weren't going to get hosed at the end. I've heard of that happening with other studios. I'm not going to do that. And I talked to my partner, Susie. She's very understanding. And she's like, go for it. I want you to chase your dream here. But the financial part, that part's scary. That part's hard. And, and I don't know what the tariff situation is going to be next year. And, it's nerve-wracking. So I'm hoping that, we got just enough to cover everything we need to and, get this awesome figure in people's hands.
I'm going to throw a compliment your way, and you can shrug it off if you want. But I think you getting the level of help that you've been getting and talking about the people that have been helping you, I think it speaks a lot to the person that you are and the creative person that you are. I do truly believe that. Like it's one of the first Kickstarters that I've ever. It actually is the first Kickstarter that I've supported on day one, because I believe in you as a creator, and I think that's one of the pushes that I've, that I've had, is that like it goes beyond friend. It's like you're a really good person, and so. Thank you. And I see that kind of coming back in the help that you're getting here. I know that you're talking about like other people working on the sculpt and working on the paint and working on the design. I think one of the questions that kind of comes up, and I think frustrates collectors, especially with newer lines or things, is we hear a lot of people going, we're learning as we're kind of doing it. And there's an idea out there a little bit of action figures have been popular in a way for close to 50 years now, going back to Star Wars. And so when we hear the idea of like, we're not talking about a smaller company or a smaller person like you doing this, but like a larger company doing it, it seems the same of like, we're on a learning curve of learning how this articulation works, or how this joint might work, or how this, why do you think that still happens today when we have so many examples of like how things work in this feature? Because like I'm looking at like 100 figures, literally 100 figures on my desk right now, and I'm like, oh, a knee joint works the way a knee joint works. So from like a director, a toy toy industry person, how does that land for you when the question gets asked of like, why does that learning curve come up in the conversation for new stuff?
I would say, it really takes, I don't even say like, you've heard it takes a village to raise a child. Like it takes 10 villages to make an action figure. And you have to work with the factories, and the factories can do what they can do. And I mean, almost everything comes down to money and what companies are willing to invest in. But the difference between an import and something that's being sold at mass market by a Hasbro or a Mattel or something like that, those are subject to different testing. The different testing procedures, and they're a lot stricter. That a lot of toys that Hasbro and Mattel were doing, they say adult collector, but everything gets tested the same. It's all got to be a toy, just like anything else. So if it doesn't pass the 3+ test or 4+ test, then it doesn't get made. So they need to know that they're covered because they're such a big company. Smaller companies, they can get away with doing kind of not necessarily a bare minimum, but I mean the minimum amount of testing that needs to be done. Which is, I mean, what I'm going to be looking at, because I don't think I can afford to do more than the minimum amount of testing. That's still a very large amount of money from the overall campaign that's going to need to go to testing. Because I don't want these things shattering. I don't want a kid swallowing these things. That would be awful. But when you say learning curve, I think it's more about educating the public. Because there are systems in place at each company, and in order to redirect a company, it is not easy. It is not easy to steer a battleship, right? It takes a lot of people, and you need to get everybody on board in order to make the change. So it's very rare that something 100% new comes out. A lot of times it's got to be, well, we're reusing the tooling. If you look at the X-Men 97 Gambit, for example, they reused the starting lineup body because they had the tooling for that. Or it looks like they did. I don't know if they did officially, but it looks like it. That's a cost-saving exercise that they do. So a lot of times it comes down to cost.
Yeah, and we've seen that and again, not 100% sure, but we've seen with the starting lineup, there's different sports accessories that we've seen come in other lines, and so there's certain pieces there. No, it's one of those things that I go with, and I go, why are we still learning at this point? Like, if you know what I mean, like a knee joint is a knee joint in the consumer eyes, and I don't think a lot of people consider the level of testing that goes into it, or the level of scrutiny that some things have to go under.
And it's also, I mean, I would also say to that is these big companies have an obligation to their stockholders, their shareholders, right? And as somebody is more seasoned, they're being paid more. So the longer they're there, the more they're getting paid. Now that you've got all this institutional knowledge with that person, but when it comes down to having someone come in and say, well, you could save money if you cut this person, they're not considering the institutional knowledge.
Right.
They're just looking at the bottom line. And so that person's gone. So there is some learning that happens. I mean, when Mark Boudreau was let go from Hasbro, he took all of that knowledge of Star Wars vehicle building. He took all of that with him, and they didn't really consider that. Like, he was a genius. I mean, he was an absolute genius, and he'd been working on Star Wars from the beginning. Like, we're talking like the old Kenner days. So, but they didn't have to, but they let him go because of the bottom line. So, and this is all just, I'm not speaking officially for any company. It's all just observations, right?
Yeah, no, and it's interesting when you have the conversation with somebody that works in making toys versus those of us that go to the toy aisles or go to Amazon or whatever place we get our stuff from and just click and buy, and then we open it up and we criticize without understanding all the background that kind of goes into the work that you guys do. And I think that gets discounted sometimes for us, and for me it bothers me because I talk to you, all of you, off the chat messages and stuff like that. I know people. And so I have a different understanding of 20 years of having these conversations that I don't think gets out there a lot.
Well, you got to kind of, I mean, in a lot of ways, like you kind of have to have a tough skin about it too. I remember we got to go when I was still at Mattel. We got passes to sit in on the animation panel at D23, and this is back when Lasseter was still running creative for Disney theatrical or Disney animation. And they brought out, they were teasing the Incredibles 2. And so Sam Jackson came out, Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, like the cast. And then they had to recast Dash because Dash was actually played by a little kid 20 years ago, right? So they got another little kid to play him. The woman that played Violet was already in her 20s when she played Violet. So she had that kind of ageless voice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was Brad Bird or John Lasseter, but somebody asked the panel for advice for the new actor playing Dash. And Sam Jackson said, never read the comments. And everybody laughed. And he's like, I'm serious. Never read the comments. Because you have to know that you're doing the best job that you can. You have to accept that there are a lot of people that touch this throughout the process. Yeah. And shit happens. So there's just some stuff that just, you know, no matter how hard you try to get, you know, the eye deco lined up properly, there's just a slight move and it's off. And maybe the one that you got is the only one of 25,000 figures that has that. But I also understand you give your money, you want what you're shown. You want to get exactly what you think you're getting. But being on the other side, you also understand there's so many people and so many hands that go into it that you kind of have to accept. It really goes to that, accept what you can control or accept what you can't control, you know, like just understand that there's just a lot that's out of our control.
Getting back to the project, I'm looking at kind of like the pack out or the planned pack out for it. There's a lot of swords. You have a lot of different portraits. The diorama pieces that are shown as kind of like the product shots, like the action shots or like, you know, peeking out behind those things. Was there ever any thought to keeping some of that or looking at including some of that as an accessory?
There is. So the original idea was to go with a katana and a wakizashi, and that was it, just the two. Okay. And as we were heading up in price, just trying to break even, I thought it's not enough. You know, we had originally sculpted out 3 heads and the 2 swords, and we were still going to have to be as high as we are, and just it didn't feel like enough. So we had some extra accessories sculpted up. We submitted them to Signite Tokyo, who's the licensing agent for the Mifune estate, and they ran the accessories by the Mifune estate. And some stuff they didn't like because it didn't channel the samurai spirit that Mifune possesses. And so we got to a lot of swords. But to me, like, diorama pieces are cool, and we had thought about it, but a diorama is going to take up a whole tool, even if it's just a small piece. And that one tool I can use to make a shit ton of swords and scabbards. So it's like, do I want something as passive as a background that just stands there, or do I want something more exciting and give some more options to play with? And I tried to pick iconic stuff for him. You know, the Odachi, which is the really long sword, he carries that around in Seven Samurai. Like, he's just got this big, and sometimes he's just got it with the scabbard on, and sometimes he's fighting with both. And it, like, to me, like, that's a much more striking visual than a background. Now, that background was created by my 17-year-old. She absolutely crushed it. She's
gorgeous. I was going to ask you who did it. Like, it is insane how good.
I'll go grab it in a second. But she, you know, we put it together with foam core and we got some tracing paper to make the windows. And she's an amazing painter at 17. She's a far better painter than I could ever hope to be. And I keep telling her that too. And she works on her art pieces. I'm like, you know, I've paid people $10,000 to give me an art piece that did not turn out as great as the stuff you're doing. And of course I'm saying that because she's my kid, but she's also incredibly talented. So That diorama, I was just blown away.
No, I'm sitting here looking at the picture. Like I have it up because that's what I was asking. I'm like, because those lanterns that you have and the stairs and all the stuff, I'm just looking at going, God, like I wish I could do that. Like I can do some of it, but I can't do it as well as that looks. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
To the point where I'm going, I want that for this figure. Like how do I do this for that?
There would probably be another extra $100 on the price, so I don't think I'd want to do that. Maybe later down the road.
But I'm telling you, there's a market for it.
Sure.
But like,
there's great companies that are doing a lot of diorama stuff, like extreme sets or extreme dioramas, something like that. Like they're selling stuff on Big Bad Toy Store. I actually looked at that to do it, and it just worked out financially to build it ourselves better than and I wanted that authentic feel too, that like we created it from the ground up. So that part was a control thing. I wanted to control exactly what it looked like.
I get it. Why the choice to go with soft goods over just sculpt for this design, for this figure?
So the idea is that this will pay forward down the line, so that we get our first, Mifune is the first planned Icon Collection character, and hopefully we're having conversations with other licensor or another license. Excuse me, we're having conversations with other licensing agents currently, and once we have a better sense of how this one does, that'll give us more leverage. Mifune really gave us a foot in the door in a lot of places. So the idea is we have a body tooled. The next project, it'll only need half as much to get funded, because the body alone, that'll run you half the budget that's in there, if not more, just to get it tooled. Gotcha. Yeah. And soft goods, I know really great people that do soft goods. Opalescent Threads is who I used for this project. There are other folks out there that are, very talented, and it just worked out. And to me, the soft goods feels like $90. Like it feels like $100. It feels premium, and so it wasn't just like paying it forward. I also wanted the most playability with it. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like when kimonos and hakama pants and things like that, when they're sculpted in plastic, they end up being very mechanical looking. They look very rigid, and there's a lot of unsightly cuts and things. Yeah. And I just didn't want that. I wanted it like to get much cleaner lines than that, and being able to hide the articulation underneath the soft goods just felt right.
Yeah. See, when you started talking, my head went, "Oh, he's going to do another samurai." I didn't even think about the body, like just having the blank buck body, and I'm like, "Oh no, okay." So as you started talking, I was, "Oh yeah, no, okay." I mean,
Alex did such a great job on that body too. It could easily be a superhero body. Like if we end up doing our own IP as a character, I could paint a superhero body on that, or suit on that thing, and it's gorgeous. So just really happy with the way it turned out.
Is there anything? Do you think? I'm trying to think of like movement and posability, because we see. So far, we've seen kind of static standing poses. Are we going to see more kind of dynamic posing for this? Because I know Toyshiz got to do a turnaround on it for it, and I just want to see like what other posability are we going to see on model.
So that's why I thought it was important to show the articulation scheme and to show that exploded view that I've in the behind the scenes stuff I've been sharing throughout. It will be incredibly articulated. The issue is when it's painted, you can't do anything with it. So it kind of goes back to that traditional, when we worked with the Four Horsemen at Mattel, they would send us, it would kind of just have the arms bent, and it would be this beautiful 12-inch 2-up that they would do. Yeah. And everything was fused. When when I got this painted, I had someone painting it and I had someone making soft goods separately. So I needed to be able to assemble it in the simplest way possible. So it just went to like the head and the shoulders are the only thing that move now. And the goddamn arms kept falling out during the photo shoot. So I just said, fuck it. And I glued them in. And then I went, oh, right. Now I can't really pose them at all. So it's a beautiful statue right now, but it's going to be an incredibly articulated figure. So when the tooling model comes in, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to be showing more articulated poses. But I don't get a tooling model until I can pay for tooling.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I think it's reasonable. I mean, we've seen other Kickstarters that go up a lot higher. I think that this is fairly reasonable. It's on par with other lines that are doing this type of work. And it's kind of like it's something that isn't being done. And so like when you had mentioned like you're gonna, you know, Stars of the Silver Screen or, you know, talking about it initially, I got excited because I'm like, oh, there's so many options like that I didn't even think about. Right. And we were going back and forth on things. And it's one of those things that feels like it crosses a little bit because, you know, you're getting a really good body, you're getting good accessories, you're getting good soft goods, and you could get this and use it in different ways, because I know there's a lot of creative people that look at, you know, how do you use these things in different ways and finding different ways to use these in photography and things. So I think it's a really good idea.
Thank you.
How's the first week been going for you?
I mean, great. You know, we started off really strong on Monday, slowed down a little bit, but we're already 10.5%, almost 11%, which, you know, a fatalist would say, oh crap, we're only 10% in a week in. It hasn't even been a week, right? It's only been 5 days. And that it's a lot of money to ask for, you know, whether it's a low amount for normal projects or not, it's a lot. And so every little bit helps. I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling very optimistic, and I wouldn't have spent the, you know, $7,000-8,000 I already did to get this stuff made if I didn't believe that we could get there. And part of sharing the process was getting folks invested earlier, right? Like the goal was to get to Comic-Con, sit on a panel with Daniel, get a chance to talk about it, and you know, I would have loved to have a place to display it, but that would have been another $3,000 to get a booth or a table or something. Like, that's not worth the investment for me. It was, you know, showing it on social media, building it longer. That was kind of the way to go. So hopefully there are enough people who are invested, they're keeping an eye on it, and we get a really big push over the next couple weeks.
Is there any consideration, and this, if this is too inside and whatever, just tell me to shut up. Is there any interest or any push from your side of it going, like approaching like some of the retailers, like a Big Bad or something like that, because we've seen that in other crowdfund things where they pick up a section of it to kind of help push that. And again, if it's something you're working on or something, but like, has that been a consideration of looking at other places to kind of help drive up some of the, you know, the cost of it?
Oh, for sure. You know, I have had some conversation with retail. They're going to be online retailers, obviously. Target's not going to take a risk on something like this. You know, but yeah, we're having the conversations. I think I'll have more leverage, as it were, if we hit the funding goal, because then I am able to offer a wholesale option, and then they're definitely going to, you know, be able to give more. So yeah, we're having conversations. I'm not a salesperson, and I don't have someone dedicated to sales. So these are informal conversations that I have with folks that I know at different places, and hopefully, you know, we have a strong showing, and then that'll be enough evidence that, hey, there's a demand. We can take, you know, 200, 300 of these, and you know, it would be awesome. So we'll see.
On the PR side of it, like, how's that working for you about like pushing a project? Because you've always been part of a machine that kind of pushes out product, and you don't have to. What's that side of creative side for you going? Like, how do I creatively push this idea that I'm excited about?
Sure. you know, it's interesting because I don't have a ton of followers on Instagram. You know, the previous company I worked for was not very supportive of folks speaking up about their work. As far as they were concerned, there was only one person who was allowed to talk about all the work all these other hardworking people were doing.
I know that's one of the reasons we haven't talked in a couple of years. Like,
yeah,
this.
yeah, no kidding. So, you know, I don't have this super big following of folks that are, you know, the toy influencers and such of the world. So it's been a matter of reaching out to those folks. And you know, Jordan Toyshes, he was you know, he was more than happy. I just love to go down there. We grab lunch. He's a couple hours away from me, so drove down to see him. We grabbed lunch. He shot the video, shot a bunch of videos and put it up. So, and we had really great results on that. I think we hit 25,000 accounts.
That's awesome.
And, you know, almost 40,000 views, which is incredible, right? Like if I can convert 10% of them, then we're done. Like we got it.
Yeah.
So, so it's, I mean, it has a difficult, and the algorithms appear to be set up in a way that the more salesy you sound, the less they push the content forward.
Yeah.
So when I was posting things on just my Jason N. Langston Instagram, I was getting, you know, 10, 15,000 views on my posts about the project. When I set up the professional JNL Toys, then it's saying, hey, it's only been shown to 100 people. Do you want to support it? Do you want to boost it? It's $20 a day to boost it. And I was like, no, I want to organically. I mean, maybe the last week, if it's looking like we're struggling, then sure, maybe I'll invest in it then. But you know, I got a lot of. I've been doing this one old school, man. Like I went to, it's not called Kinko's anymore, but I went to FedEx Print and printed out a bunch of postcards with a QR code on it and the photo of Mifune and handed them out while we were in San Diego.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I talked to the San Diego, the what was it? They were the con volunteers at the freebie table.
Yeah.
I got it approved by them to leave the cards there, and by the end of the day, most of them were gone, and I was only there Saturday.
Okay.
So, you know, they're getting out there, and so just kind of doing a grassroots approach as much as I can. Yeah,
and I mean, like you've been doing a lot of like photo posts, and since I've been back the last 6 months, whenever I do, and this is just, you know, we'll inside baseball this for a second, of like whenever I do photo posts, they tank. It's the video posts that kind of move the needle a little bit.
It's true.
So yeah, like whatever.
And I've even taken the photo and created a reel out of it.
Yeah.
It's still a still photo.
Yeah.
But you know, there's been some challenges with licensing. You know, I can't use music. The license doesn't let me use music.
Gotcha.
So it would be great to use the Yojimbo theme and then put a video together with all of that, but they're like, no music. So it's like, well, without any sound, videos, it's kind of hard to get forward. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking like, what's next? How's it feel to have something that's yours? Because I think that I know it's a licensed product.
Yeah.
But like I'm thinking you're putting together, you're the Nick Fury here, right? Like you're putting together
the second person that said that. It's awesome.
Right? Like you've put together this team to kind of put together this project that is, although it's licensed, it's your idea. It came out of like your head, you know, ground up. It's what's that for you?
It is really satisfying. You know, this is my second Kickstarter. My first one was a children's book that I had written, which you have. Yes. When you said it's the first Kickstarter, I was like, wait, you did mine first day too.
Toy. That's what I mean.
Toy. Yeah. Right. Good. But creating that book was such a fulfilling experience that I wasn't necessarily looking to become a children's author long term. It wasn't like, now I'm going to turn this into a book series and keep going. It was a mountain that I wanted to climb, and I was very fortunate, and I'm very grateful that it funded. And there are 200, 500 people that have that book, which is incredible that anybody would want a book in this century. So when it comes to this, getting to do it from scratch has been a complete amazing experience. When I was at Mattel, I was inheriting a system, that DC Classics had been around for so long. A lot of the figures were reusing that. We were calling it DC Comics Multiverse, but it was still inheriting bodies and our articulation schemes. And I had many back and forths with the engineers overseas over just ankle pivots, like trying to get them to stop doing those rectangular side to side things, which make no sense to me. And trying to just like, look, I took a picture of a Human Torch, the Walgreens Human Torch from Marvel Legends. And I took a picture because it's clear. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want. I want it to be able to do this and this. So it was tough. And then going to McFarlane, Todd has a very, the McFarlane style is what they call it. Long legs, tiny head, the diaper, that was inherited as well. There wasn't a lot of completely ground up things I got to do. Superpowers is the exception. I got to do Superpowers from the ground up, so that was pretty exciting. And I'm glad that there's another wave coming still. I wanted to do way more, and I had a whole board probably of 200 characters that I was concepting up to do. But to get to do this from the ground up, work so closely with the sculptor Alex, and just build this, and then work with my production. I have a friend that did the production cutting for me, like the articulation cutting, and getting to talk them through like how I want this to be and how I want everything to work. And it's been a dream, man. It's been an absolute dream. So, and this is another one of those instances where this is a mountain that I wanted to climb. Yeah. It's just, I've been sitting, like I said, I've been sitting on my hands for a little over a year now. It's not a good time to be out of work. A lot of people are looking for work. So I said, fuck it, I'll just make work, and we'll see how it goes.
No, that's great. And I think, I don't do as much as I used to do. Like I'm not drumming up a machine and going like, I'm going to just keep promoting it. Like I make content, I do stuff when I feel like it now. And it's a nice feeling to be creative when you want to be creative. Sure. With it. But I think one of the things that's been over the last few years, and the recent comment that just popped up was, thank you for some of the best figures that we saw. The last year for us, at least there's a group of us here in Connecticut that are like really close, and we cover each other and find stuff for each other. The thing we're most excited about is the things that you put forth. And every time it comes up in conversation at dinner or movies or whatever, I'm like, Jason killed it. We have somebody on the inside, or had somebody on the inside that was doing that kind of work. And it's been nice to see that with like you working on the DC lines, Lenny, who was on the G.I. Joe lines, the Transformers, and the Transformers team. There's a passion and a love, because we're all about the same age, and we understand what we want as for toys. And having you people, because there's a lot of guys doing it, but there's a lot of women that are doing the work too, with either sculpting or painting or marketing. They're like Emily that was working on the PR team at Hasbro on the line things. There's a passion there for the product that comes through in what's being produced. And so
I would say, Daniel Pickett, a very good friend of mine. I've sat on quite a few panels with him now, and he has talked about how this generation, the folks that are working now and beyond, and younger, we're sort of the first generation that got into toy making because we loved toys growing up. Like we loved the shows, like the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. They were all about cartoons, toys, movies, toys, like everything. So you would get an emotional attachment to properties.
Yeah.
And that didn't really exist that much before. Like there were toys, Barbie's been around a long time, Hot Wheels has been around a long time, but neither one of those things were characters necessarily. Like Barbie was a doll you could dress up and you could see yourself as her, but not necessarily a character that was in a movie or a show or anything.
Right.
And Hot Wheels you're the person in charge of Hot Wheels because you're collecting the cars. So we're sort of the first generation that like grew up being passionate about it. And DC is just something that I've loved since I was a friggin' lonely little kid that had left Connecticut and moved to Arizona when I was in middle school. And I discovered Green Lantern and was like, oh, I remember this guy from the Super Friends, and started reading. And I have many fandoms. Turtles is a huge part of my fandoms. DC is a big part, and I have felt very fortunate that I've gotten to actually contribute to those fandoms, like from this side, not just buying things and wearing the rings when they come out and whatnot, but actually contributing has been a tremendous honor. And I think I think 12-year-old Jason would be really happy with the way things turned out.
Yeah, I think, I agree with that. I think the 12-year-old me would be like, wait, you're talking to the guy that helped make the toys that we've been like, it's surreal sometimes when I get those moments of like thinking like, yeah, no, the kid would want to know the adult me, like absolutely. And I think when we see stuff online and we get reviews of things, the companies get a lot of times the companies get, like, oh, we like this McFarlane figure. We like this Marvel Legends figure. We like this, classified figure. And I heard this, I was listening to Kamal Bell's podcast, and he goes, I want to give you your flowers. I think that a lot of times, and one of the things that I do is like, I want to make sure that the people that are behind it also get the credit, because you're the ones that are going to bat for the things that we want to see and doing the best with what you have, and the situations that you're in. So I never want that to be far from the conversation about these toys. So,
and I appreciate that. Thank you. I would say that big companies have gotten a lot better about putting their talent forward, for sure. Yeah. Hasbro, especially when they did, during COVID, they were doing the specials, and Stevie Evans was like hosting it, and and they would have the people come out, and then when they do their Fan Fest Fridays or G.I. Joe Junes and stuff like that, like it's really cool that they were putting stuff forward, because they weren't really doing that. And now I'm seeing it more at Mattel as well. Like you've got amazing talent, Bill McKenna, Magic Olmos, Rod Rubin, he's a writer for WWE. They're being pushed forward. They're getting included in on these panels where they're sitting next to the WWE champion, like CM Punk's right here, Danhausen sitting right next to them and teasing them. And I think it has a lot to do with folks like Steve Ozer, who's the marketing manager, who is also something super passionate about different fandoms. Like he loves Star Wars, he loves DC, loves WWE. Like it's very different. Before the Steve Ozers and the Emilys and such, B-Max of the world, before those beautiful people came into this world to work on this stuff, you had folks like Knightlick, who is very polarizing. Scott Knightlick is very polarizing, but he was a die-hard He-Man fan.
Yes,
he's a die-hard Scott Knightlick fan, but he's also a die-hard He-Man fan, and he fought like no other in the face of people. I watched him do it in meetings where he would just take the hits. He knows he's being called a nerd. He knows he's being called lame, or they're snickering about him in the room. But he's like, I don't give a shit. I want these He-Man figures to come out. And he really, he was a big part of why Masters of the Universe even was a conversation in 2008, 2009.
Yeah. Well, there's
is he crazy? I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't diagnose, but
well, and there is the conversation of like there's a difference between the art and the artist, or the work that they're doing, and the contributions that they made. You can't discount in a lot of ways. Like we had He-Man Classics, and we I think we have the current run of He-Man because it was brought back into conversation. So I would never discount that at all. Do I have personal issues also with him? Absolutely. But that's a whole nother podcast and story. Yeah, no, I really, so aside from this, and we want to see this succeed and everything, what kind of excites you, not necessarily company wise, but like what excites you about the toy industry? Because it doesn't feel as exciting as it used to, with tariffs and pricing and the retail market shrinking for us as a collector. Like, what in the collecting world for you personally, either at San Diego or upcoming, or what excites you about the toy industry today?
There have been seismic shifts during my career, where toys were for kids, completely for kids, and the adult collector was sort of born in the 80s, right? And they're growing up and they're getting to the age where they're wanting. I mean, we've got real Ghostbusters, like that line that Alex Brewer over there is doing is incredible. Him and Mark Bristow, he's the painter on that. The stuff they're doing at Mondo is really great. What excites me in the industry right now is that there's opportunity for folks like me and folks like Gavin and Wade to make product. They don't have to make 50,000 of an item for it to be successful. Mm-hmm. And they're not necessarily in it, as far as my understanding, they're not in it to become millionaires. They're in it to get something made that they've always wanted. And I think that's really exciting, because there is a market for folks to get these collectible figures that a big company would not, they would not support, kind of thing. I think the pendulum has swung too far towards targeting Gen X. And I think it needs to come back towards making toys again, because the big companies, they are largely making adult collectible toys. And when wages aren't going up, but inflation is, and everything's getting more expensive, the hobby becomes something that you cut, there are necessities that have to be met. And when you no longer have disposable income to go to movies, to shows, you're not seeing the new stuff. You're not taking a chance because it's $100 to take your family to the movie to see an unproven IP. So I feel like I'm waxing poetic a little bit here. I would say I'm excited that there's opportunities for smaller companies, and just individuals to make things like this funny thing. I'm hoping to be part of that exclusive club that's gotten to launch things. But I'm also excited for some fresh perspectives on some things. Playmates has had the Ninja Turtles license for over 30, 40 years. It'll be interesting to see what Mattel does with it, because it's new to them and they're starting from fresh. And same thing goes for the folks that are working on DC now. They're a different team. It's different people. Licenses move around all the time. So that part's exciting. But yeah, I mean, I'm also excited to see more anime getting introduced to American audiences.
Yeah.
I have found, even just in my own home, I have 3 kids, and if it's not Pokemon, if it's not Minecraft, or it's not anime, they're not interested. They will go all in on any anime show. We'll go to the manga stores at the mall. We'll go to Barnes & Noble, to their very small manga section, because they're discovering this on their own in the same way that the way I discovered Green Lantern was at a Quick Mart in Tucson. It was like, hey, it was Emerald Dawn #2, and he's laid out in bricks, and he's like this, and it was just this great cover. I discovered that. My dad didn't introduce me to that. And there's been this really long habit of continuously pushing old properties on younger people. Ninja Turtles, here's another version of Ninja Turtles. And here's another, you guys like Flintstones? We're making another Flintstones. It's like, no, people haven't liked the Flintstones 50 years. I love that figure that Jada did. Don't get me wrong. I have it.
Yeah.
It is wonderful, but I don't expect my 9-year-old to get excited about Flintstones.
Yeah.
And He-Man, I think, just suffered the same thing, where He-Man is for kids that were born in the 80s. It's a very weird property. It's not necessarily, you're not able to really push it on kids nowadays because fantasy was huge in the early 80s. It's not now.
Right.
So anyway, I'm curious to see where things go, because when the kids that are this age now are the ones in charge of the studios, you can bet we're going to be seeing more Demon Slayer. We're going to be seeing, Hayaku live action movies, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
That'll be kind of exciting. I think we need it palate cleansing.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when you texted me earlier and said, we had to move the time, I was literally doing the math in my head, because my mom has been bugging me for 2 weeks now to watch He-Man with me because she hasn't seen it yet. And so, like, I'm doing the math going, all right, if I get to her, because she's in a care facility. And so I'm like, all right, if I get there at 3, it's a 2.5 hour movie. It takes me 25 minutes to get home. If we started at 3 o'clock, I can do it, Jason. Yep, I'll be there. And we watched the whole thing. I skipped the credits. We watched the things, and she just sat there. She goes, that was amazing to watch. So I think it's made for us to watch with our parents, because
I hated that movie. That was awful.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It just hit all the right notes for me.
It's not going to end up on my top 300. Let's put it that way. It may end up in the mid 300, maybe the bottom 300. The music was bad. The dialogue was bad.
The music was questionable. I
just didn't know who that movie was for. Who was it really for? It wasn't for kids, because there was way too much weird violence and cursing. So I was like, I can't show this to my 9-year-old. So it was just odd. In a way that the Barbie movie was a masterpiece.
Which one?
The exact opposite. Barbie was a masterpiece.
Oh.
And I went in expecting the same kind of it's another big toy company / studio making a property. It's not going to be good. And the brilliant thing was that Mattel left Margot Robbie alone when she made that film. Her and Greta Gerwig, I think.
Yeah.
When they made that film, they were left alone to do whatever they wanted, and it came out beautifully. He-Man felt like they had toy people in the room the entire time. We got to have this vehicle. We got to have this here. We got to have this. And it's like, you're not making a good movie. You're making a toy commercial, and they weren't cool looking toys.
And so I agree with, the designs on the vehicles and stuff were not good. But when we walked out, we said, this is the movie we wanted in 87 that should have come out in 87. And us as 10-year-olds would have been happy with it, right?
Yeah.
Not the Dolph Lundgren, which ignored most of what we liked about He-Man.
I was upset that Orko wasn't in it, but I think that one grew on me because it felt grounded.
Yeah.
This one was the exact opposite of grounded. I guess I've gotten to a point where I'm sick of movies that are just two people standing in front of a green screen. Yeah, it's all feeling very Star Wars prequel-y. And those movies have grown on me over time. I still think the first two are unwatchable. But
I'm the opposite.
Really?
I can't watch the third one. I can't stand Revenge of the Sith.
All 3 of them are not good movies. And honestly though, I did watch Phantom Menace 5 times in the theater. That is the only movie I ever watched more than once. I was so excited. Oh, you saw it 9 times?
9 times.
I wanted to like it every time I went in there, knowing that I wasn't going to like it, but I was just so excited there's new Star Wars content.
Yeah.
And I was 20 years old when that came out. So I was like, this is my money. I want to watch this again. I was like, God, Jar Jar's annoying, but he's fine. I could take it. He's a character. He's for kids. It's okay. Boss Nass is weird. There's just all these things. I was it's so stunted, the acting, but I loved Qui-Gon. I don't know. It like I said, it's grown on me over the years. I at least appreciate what George Lucas was trying to do. He's trying to build the world out.
Yeah.
Right. He was trying to build the world, but at the same time, Anakin built 3PO and R2 was Obi-Wan's droid, and it's like, wait a second. Suddenly Han Solo is the linchpin connected to all of these people.
But my thing was, the reason I saw it 9 times was because everybody that wanted to see it with me. So they just called me up like, we're gonna go see it for the first time. All right, I'll go with you. And by the last one, I fell asleep. I was like, I can't do this again.
The pod racing sequence is incredible.
Yeah.
Love that. I mean, that was really fresh and exciting and different.
And the
for
Duel
Star
of
Wars.
Fates was
And the
pretty-
Duel of Fates was really awesome. The soundtrack did spoil it. And I was totally caught up in the fandom of it. That was the first time I can ever remember staying up late to get toys.
Yeah.
Like to actually get, and this is the Walmart in Tucson, a couple blocks from our house. And I was there and I was like, why are people lining up? Like, why is there a big crowd here? Like, all the Star Wars toys come out tonight. And I was like, okay. I was in. I was like, I'll take any of them. Microchip thing? Sure. What's this this reader thing? Awesome. I'll get all of it. Like, I was so excited to get the stuff. I don't have those anymore.
I have a couple of them left.
Yeah.
But and I think this, you know what? Like, I know you gotta go. And we gotta wrap up anyway.
Sure.
But I want to say I appreciate being able to have like these kind of conversations, like the last couple minutes, just about like, I hate Revenge of the Sith, but like that's the one you like, and I would rather watch Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. I'm just saying, like, I would rather watch the first two than the third one.
Yes.
But just like, or I liked He-Man, you didn't. Like, when we have these nerd conversations or these light conversations, our world becomes so polarizing that it's fun that we can have these with a smile on our face and but it doesn't happen anymore. Like, it's like if I like this toy line and you don't like it, or I like this movie, you don't like it, a lot of times I see people just walk away from each other. And it's like the dialogue that we get to have. So there's a lot that I enjoy about the nerddom and our fandoms and all these things that like I miss having around. So,
well,
yeah.
Like Samuel L. Jackson famously said, never read the comments.
That's a good place to leave it. So, Jason, I always let the guests tell everybody where they can find you. All the stuff's in the description below, but tell them where they can look for you.
Yeah, check out my Instagram, JNL.toys. And you can find me at my kids' elementary school, probably volunteering for something. So, but don't actually show up at my kids' volunteer. That would be weird. Yeah, just find me on Instagram. There's also Jason N. Langston on Instagram. That's more my personal, and I'll get back to posting some of my old, old stuff I've been working on, but I've been solely focused on Mifune. And yes, please check out the Kickstarter. And thank you, Khalil. I appreciate your time, man. It's always good talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All the links are down below. You can find his Instagram and direct link to the Kickstarter in the description below. We'll be posting clips of this and we'll get stuff out for you. Please go support it. I was day one. I'm very excited to get it. Hoping it pushes through. We know it'll push through, so I can't wait to have it in my hands. So I'm very excited for it. Thank you guys for watching. And next week, we've got a fun show, but you're going to have to wait until Tuesday night's open mic to hear who it's with. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
See you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Saturday night, we in here. Kastor's Korner. Saturday night, we in here. Kastor's Korner. Pull up, step in, yeah, the room feel right. Every week, same crew, yeah, we back on time. New faces, old names, I see everybody. From the chat to the screen, yeah, the vibe stay solid. Hit the comments, let it fly, let it show what you like. Who we talking to next, who we bringing on mic. Every voice matter here, yeah, we building it right. We just here for the love every Saturday night. We in the room, yeah, we live tonight. Say it in the chat, let me know you alright. Show what you love, let it shine, let it move. We collect cause we love it, that's the truth. Korner Live, yeah, the whole crew here. Every comment, every voice, yeah, we all in here. Price don't matter, it's the time that we spend. It's the talk, it's the bond, we connect in the end. Shout out, weekly viewers, yeah, you know who you are. Been here from the start, helped us take it this far. To the guests on the show, yeah, we thank y'all too. Every combo, every moment, yeah, we building with you. From the likes to the shares, yeah, we see all that. Every comment, every post.